ladies and gentlemen, for your oral and visual pleasure tonight. We've got a very quick turnaround actually on this one. It's going to nip in before the next episode because it's not time sensitive as such, but it doesn't involve too much editing, hopefully from me. Slogs, don't go asking me to search out loads of old photos.
Oh yeah, I promise I won't do that.
But yeah.
Before we get into the guests and stuff, give a shout out to Simon Neck and his crew for putting on Mount Fest this weekend. One, as my Claire said, the best one so far that she's attended.
Oh, nice. 10-year anniversary for the record. 10 year.
10 years, yeah. They had a good electric vehicle race up the border cross and then down through the flow bit, up and around some of the larger kickers. Really good. Mass ascent / descent at the end as well.
I was honestly properly sad that I wasn't there.
Yeah, it was a really good event. So
I'm missing the crew and the community a little bit this year. Or at least my ability to be mobile, like I've been in previous years. But hey, is what it is. Is what it is. Be up there for the champs. Well done, Simon. Well done, Bugs, and the crew up there for getting it done. It looked to be a cracking weekend. Did you get covered in paint?
No, I missed that bit. I went up there Saturday, got up there for midday Saturday, so I missed the early start of Saturday.
Missed the assault course.
Yeah, but I
God.
partied on Saturday when I got there, and then rode all day Sunday.
Nice. Ribs
Yeah,
feeling all right?
Yeah, Ribs feeling good, really good.
We need to get him in here. I've said
yeah. Shit, man.
We just do the episode and leave him in the waiting room the whole time. Look, Bradley Smith, not the famous MotoGP rider, but the soon-to-be famous long-distance electric mountain boarder, who's midway, or I don't know, midway. We'll find out exactly. What? Should I just shut up about it? You
just let him get on with it. Let him tell us.
Okay, well, hopefully here he is. Straight in. Thanks for joining us, dude.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No worries, man. How's it going?
It's like day by day. At least the wind's not there because I totally underestimated the prairies. Being a BC boy, there's a lot of mountains around. We don't get the wind like they do out here. So I came out here thinking, oh, the prairies is going to be a walk in the park. I'm just going to like glide through here. And then first day out, I hit close to like 70-kilometer-hour gusts with like
Bradley. I haven't told them really what you're doing, anybody what you're actually doing yet. So at the moment, sounds like you're introducing a serious bout of intestinal flatulence. So let me do a little bit for the viewers and listeners to give some context to Bradley's farting expertise here. Bradley Smith is undertaking at the moment what we hope to be the world's first sort of a world record. I don't know if it is I think there is a world record for current distance on an electric skateboard. I don't know, or we'll have to go. You can go into the finities at the moment. But where in? You said you're from BC originally, Bradley.
Yeah, I was born on a small island called Salt Spring Island.
And is that where you set off from for this trip?
No, I drove to Saskatoon and then I started from there and been working my way back.
Nice. Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, give us a little bit of background as to how you've come to be taking this trip on. How far distance for us, people who haven't got many miles in our country, are you taking on here?
With any luck, I should be 3,000 to 3,500 kilometers. I don't. what that would be in miles, but it's a lot.
A fucking lot. That's what it'd be in
What's
mine.
3,350 kilometers in miles? 2,081, close to 2,082 miles.
Yeah,
So
it's
to
not
put that
bad.
into context, me and Slog's done north or south to north, the tip to top of our country and back, and that in a vehicle when stopped off to ride, and you're doing that entire journey on an electric mountain board.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, that is why this episode is kind of time sensitive, because we're part way through that, and it might explain why Bradley's been experiencing some serious weather conditions along the route of what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an
So,
understatement. Holy shit.
so Bradley, when did you start this? What date was it when you started off?
June 1st in Saskatoon.
Nice.
And just working my way. Yeah, I got held up between Lloydminster and Saskatoon with wind, like really bad wind, to the point where it blew in some rain. There was tornado warnings right in front of me, so I had to hold up and just kind of wait it out. So I'm like, right now I got good weather, so I'm just pushing as hard as I can.
Yeah.
How many Ks are you doing a day?
The top out a few days ago was 160 in one day, and then today I was supposed to do 120, but just some sort of like calculations that I wanted to take care of on the board. I wanted to rotate the tires and kind of tune it up, and I just thought I'd take a break. Plus, I really wanted to be on this podcast, so I just really
Brilliant.
Well,
it's phenomenal.
yeah, yeah. When you think what we probably chomped in one sitting, the longest distance, I reckon was probably about 60, maybe 70, pushing 70 kilometers. It's about 45 mile, wasn't it? That we did the range test thing. So to be doubling that, and to be fair,
Daily as well.
yeah, this is going to be daily for quite some time. You know, a good 4 weeks plus.
Yeah, the end of June and maybe into like the first week of July, because I lost a few days due to that strong wind. So yeah.
Oh man, so it's going to be quite the undertaking for you.
Yeah.
Bradley, are you doing this solo, or have you got a team that's working with you?
No, I'm solo, all by myself. Yeah, on the side of the road.
Which is even more phenomenal. That's just
yeah. I mean, I got to admit, I am highly envious, because it's not often in life that opportunities to focus on yourself or to focus on such a singular goal for any length of time and have it be all consuming, in some ways has got to be very, very liberating.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I heard a phrase not too long ago that the time is never going to be right. You just gotta take it. And I've been dreaming about this for like 5 years. I mean, I've been e-boarding for like almost 10, but just in the last 5, I started dreaming about this because I heard about the guy in Italy who broke the world record on the male side. And then the female, she broke his record, plus she set it for the females. And I was like, I'm going to crush all of that. And so I planned for it. And in the last year, I was like, I'm going to make this happen. And we're going to do this. And I don't care what it takes, because, you know, otherwise I would regret it more if I didn't follow through with this, as opposed to going through with this and failing. At least I would have tried.
I hear you 100. It's an absolute joy to undertake challenges in life for me personally, and I think, you know, many mountain boarders around the world. be it electric or downhill, whatever. Totally get it, because there's an element to our sport in the same way as snowboarding has it, the free ride element.
Yeah.
You know, that and having electric variants of these boards now means that so much more terrain is accessible, so much more distance, so much more ride time in a single session. You know, despite the fact that I probably ride more downhill board these days than I do electric. But I say that, but then it would only take 1 or 2 rides of the electric to equal the amount of on-board time.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, it's
Yeah.
it's crackers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, back in the day when living in France, we'd do like 30-kilometer runs down the Alps, only unstrapping, I think, once to get across a flat section, and thinking, oh, that they were the dreams. But now that's a daily attainable on a shop bought board, you know, essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I want to come on to the topic of your board, but I think we need to talk a little bit about your history as such. You said there that you started electric skateboarding 10 years ago. And that would have been, geez, if we're 2024, 2014, that was quite early on, even for that scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
Were you skateboarding, or did you have board experience before that of any kind? Like what's your historical sort of?
Yeah, so I mean, my background's probably like a lot of boarders. I started skateboarding, you know, in the parks and whatnot. That guy kind of got boring for me, so I took on a longboard through a company called Loaded, and or land yacht, sorry. And then I just started pushing everywhere, just because I was like, this is a great mode of transportation. And then in 2008, after doing all that longboarding, I flew one way to St. John's, Newfoundland, and I took a 5-month trip to skateboard back across Canada to Victoria, to just because I'd never seen my country. And, you know, like there were moments where I was like, the premise was I wanted to skate the whole way. I really wanted to push the whole way, but I bit off way more than I can chew. If I had to say, like, I probably pushed about 4,000 kilometers worth, but in between, there were moments where I hairline fractured the outside of my foot. I went to the hospital for 2 concussions, ran out of water, ran out of food. So there was like, it just turned into this huge, epic longboarding adventure. And that's kind of where I started to dream of the idea of like, man, it'd be cool if I could get like a Guinness World Record for something like this. And then I got into electric skateboarding, and I was like, oh, this is just like, this is such a dream. I don't have to push anymore, and I could go further. And then just in the last few years, I heard about the Guinness World Record for longest electric skateboard. And I was like, I'm fucking doing that. I'm going to break that, and I'm going to bring it home back. Here we go. Here we go. And here I am. And it's, it's, you know, it's what I expected it to be. It's going to be tough, but yeah.
You've got a vast country as well, haven't you? It's huge.
Yeah, we could
Like,
take UK and slam it in us like, I don't know, like 15, 20 different times. I don't know. It's ridiculous.
madness, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
did you choose the month of June for weather reasons? Then did you?
I thought I was. So June was actually a really important month for me, because I recently lost my dad to cancer, and it's his birthday month, plus it's Father's Day. And but then also because I thought the weather was going to be good. Plus, June is the month where kids are still in school, so the holidayers with RVs and stuff aren't on the roads yet. So the roads are relatively still quiet, which is super nice. Like coming into the town that I'm in now, I had the highway to myself, because we've got all these side like 1As and 2As type highways from the major highways, and no one takes them. And it's so rad because I can just like carve the whole road in, and it's the best. But Yeah, the weather, I thought it was going to be better, but it's been shit. It's been been shit.
Not ideal, not ideal. I'm obviously very sorry to hear about your recent loss. There's nothing that compares to that. But it sounds like, you know, as is human spirit, you know, turn negatives into positives.
Mhm.
And, you know, regardless of weather, the undertaking of such a task is a behemoth.
Yeah.
Talking of behemoths, then I can see behind me some like behind you, a double stack there battery. This is the board that you're attempting the record on.
Yeah, this is it.
Nice. So
So
go on.
this is so the board setup is an MBS Warren Pro 97 board, and
Yep.
and then I got MBS trucks, rims, tires, and then I got the it's the Flip Ski 6374 motors, belt driven, and then the ESC, the Storm Core. And like this thing is a beast off-road. Like at home, I ride this thing when this is all stripped down. I ride this thing on the mountain bike trails, on the downhill mountain bike trails, and it's so awesome, the torque on this. But then for the trip, I converted a few things here. So this is where I hold my extra batteries. I don't got them in there right now, just as I'm charging them up. But that's like the little compartment in there that holds 4 spare batteries in there.
Mhm.
And then this Pelican case will hold the 2 that actually run the board. So I got 2 in there right now. So I run these suckers. Don't know if you can read that.
The lipos on the 22
Yeah, yeah,
2000s.
yeah. So a pair of those will get me about 50 kilometers, and I've got 3 pairs. So that gets me close to 150, whether the weather is like, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but
So you're hot swapping them en route.
yeah, yeah. Um, the problem I've run into just recently is that when I bought this board from this engineer who built it, uh, those batteries are a touch older and they're starting to lose their juice. So I'm only getting like maybe 30 kilometers out of them. But the newer pair, they go collectively they'll go about 100, 110. So I just got to recalculate the distance to the towns. The problem with that is Canada's so spread out and there's so many small little towns along the way. I don't know if I'll ever find power along there. So I'm like calling ahead. Hey, I'm doing this thing. Any chance that I could recharge? And I've had to do that a handful of times so far because that wind just drained my batteries. Like that wind was, oh, that was the worst. Like, yeah, I'll take cold weather over the wind any day.
Have you found as you're going along, like you just sort of like you start razzing it, you start putting your finger down, and then realize, hang on a minute, I'm meant to be conserving batteries here, and start
Totally.
pulling the speed back.
Oh yeah, so I'll put it in like super light mode, like green mode, and floor it. And there was the one day where the wind was just like, it just stopped me almost dead. And I'm, oh man, like I'm not going anywhere. At that point, I probably cracked a few times. I was yelling at the wind. I was throwing things. I was having a full on the side of the road. And I was, but then you got to bring it back and just realize like you're out riding your board day after day. Like what else could be better than that? And
Yeah.
just try and stay focused to that, but it's tough. That wind was tough. Yeah.
I certainly hope that you encounter glorious weather for the rest of your trip. It'll be awesome if you're blessed in that way. I did notice there on your board there,
Mm-hmm.
lack of bindings. Now, I'm assuming if you're saying you're riding the downhill trails at home, that you probably put bindings on for that sort of terrain. Are you completely freeboarding? Oh.
So I feel, me personally, bindings are a death trap on the board. So I ride bindingless. and I've just learned to control my board while standing on it. And yeah, I mean, I do pretty good. And if I want to go, I just jump off and I go. But
I-
if you can, like, right in here, I wedge my foot back up in there, and then I've got another attachment that I put up there, and
uh-huh.
I wedge my feet in there so that it's almost kind of like those windsurf hooks.
The old sky hooks
The
and
clips, yeah.
It's like a really more like just relaxed version of that, and it really allows me to do stuff like, I don't take airs. I'm not doing any of that. And if I was, I'd do bindings, but I'm just looking to grip and rip, right? So
yeah. I mean, we
the
we got given a masterclass at last year's EBIT by a rider who featured on the Dirty podcast a few episodes back, called Tilo, Tilo Shu, and he rides an Atlas, X-Way Atlas, I want to say,
yeah.
four-wheel drive board, and he was running rings round a lot of riders who were reliant on their bindings to get the job done, you know, and similarly Benton Jackson in the downhill world, from Colorado, likes nothing more than to free his feet and you know, ride certain terrain out there without the bindings. I mean, I come from the opposite school of thought, in that the thought of not being attached to my board just sends shivers through
Fucking
me.
dangerous as fuck to me.
Yeah. But hey man, if you're riding, you're shredding, you're enjoying, you're progressing, you're killing it,
What for you,
whatever
isn't
you're
it?
doing.
Yeah, it's whatever you're comfortable with. Yeah, the bindings, when I see you guys doing that, I'm like, that sends shivers up my spine, because all I think about is like knee surgery, ankle surgery, like, man, that, like, especially an e-board that's probably like 30, maybe 40 pounds, and you're wiping out on that. Some of the videos I've seen you guys taking over there, like, I used to watch the Apex boys, and some of their trips, and there's like these dudes who are like probably 6'2", maybe 200 pounds, just bailing, complete yard sale, but this board still attached to their feet, and I'm like, they're still getting up. That's crazy. Yeah, I just don't know. Yeah, I should say I've never actually tried them, but I mean, I use them for snowboarding all the time,
Mhm.
but that's a different story. That's like,
Mm.
it's
But
just,
no, it's similar though, because you look at the likes of Wally Nivelt and so with and his crew that are riding the snowboard backcountry free riding with no bindings as well.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
um, yeah, so there's definitely something to it. There's definitely something to it. I mean, the original mountain boards, I've got old frame boards that have just like a couple of posts as their original bindings, just a bar over the top, and you know, you don't really use them in the same way that you'd use a modern binding. They're not,
yeah.
it's hard to call them a binding because it's, you know, so primitive.
Is it just like some kind of like a horseshoe type
Yeah,
metal piece?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's wild.
Uh,
Yeah,
but hey, but that's the way. That's the way some people still like to ride. I still like to take the frame board out for, you know, probably for that reason.
yeah, right. You're
If
comfortable.
I stop and think about it, it's because I like to not be strapped in and have a little fun not doing that. So yeah, mad props to you. And it's got to have a benefits. We're talking about mileage that you're putting down in a day. One of the biggest complaints of most e-boarders is foot cramping, you know,
Totally.
Yeah.
stuff like that. So if you've got
Under,
a binding, you're naturally going to be more prone to having that happen than if you can move your feet freely around.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So what I've figured out how I can keep moving, but I move my feet back and forth and I shift my weight from one to the other. I kind of hang a foot off the side of the board, and just do like this kind of balancing act. just to relieve some pressure and get the blood flowing, because I stepped off the board and I've kind of touched the pavement, and it's like I can't even touch. I don't even know what I'm touching. They're just so numb.
How many hours a day are you roughly in the saddle then?
So other than the long sort of 160 day, it's like I'll do a good 25 to 30K before I take my first break, depending on what happens. Because I can shift around that much. But then it gets to a point where it's like, okay, my feet they feel like they're not even there. I should probably stop and take a break. So a couple hours at least. Yeah. Just hard charging if I can. Yeah.
But by perspective, in terms of physical toll on your body so far, it's safe to say that is this a physically easier challenge than undertaking than actually just longboarding by pushing?
100%. The backpack, half the size. I took a 45-pound backpack longboarding across Canada, and this time around it's about 18 to 20, fluctuating with water and food. And yeah, it's just I learned a lot of lessons and have implemented that so far. The weight is a lot though. I think the weight is a big part why my feet are going numb quicker. And I feel like the longer I keep going, the feet are taking more of a toll. I thought they'd get stronger, but maybe I just need to take a few days to like let them heal properly. And I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Are you within the rules of the record? Are you allowed to sit on that battery pack?
I haven't tested that, and I don't think I will. I mean, I probably could. It's actually a lot lower
It's high
than
enough. It's the bar stool.
yeah, just like a tiny little seat, little camp seat. Just put right, rolling down the high. Oh
We got a
man,
barbecue going on it as well.
yeah. The looks that I get from like, because no one really does it out here. Like, there's in Canada. If I had to say the hot spots for e-boarding and or mountain boarding, it would be Vancouver, maybe Toronto, and maybe Calgary. But yeah, not really. Like, it's nowhere near as huge as it is over where you guys are. Like, what part of the UK are you guys in?
We're right down in the southwest, Devon and Cornwall.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't that is.
If I live, I reckon, probably approximately about 12 mile away from the very bottommost tip of the UK.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I had a friend who was from he was a Brummie. Is that Birmingham? Yeah. And
Yeah.
his wife was from the south, and he'd always say southern softies. Is that a phrase?
Yeah, that's a thing.
anywhere north of the Gap, anywhere north of the or south of the Watford Gap is your official southern softie.
I'll tell
I
that
will
every day.
definitely
So
one of my spots to try and get over and do some riding. It's just the logistics to get battery. Like the board, I could fly over there no problem, but the batteries, the world is terrified of transporting batteries. So as soon as I figure that out a little bit easier, there's one way of doing it, but I'd love to get over to the UK and ride over there. Is it not what's the legalities behind
I was
riding over?
literally going to ask you the same question.
We're in a huge gray area right now. They don't know how to police it. So to save paperwork, I think they don't. Unless you're being an absolute ass out there and you're just causing all sorts of problems, they will do something about it. How they would charge you, I don't really know. But as long as you're just behaving, like I'm not out on the side of the highway swerving in and out. I got reflectors, I got lights, like even when I travel to and from work, like I'm visible, I'm being polite on the side of the road. When I want to jerk around, I'll go into the bush or on a trail. you know. But yeah, it's a huge gray area. There are a couple incidences where they have slammed down some like $200 to $300 fines because it wasn't insured. But you know, that's the only thing. They just, it's going to take something pretty significant to happen, like say a major accident or injury, before they come down and start throwing some law at it. But for now, because we've got a couple e-boarders like me, but a lot of them are the battery powered scooters, and they're beefy type scooters, and those guys rip and they fly on these bicycle paths. And I don't know, there's something significant's going to happen before it comes down, but we're nowhere near what you guys are, or Australia. Like they come, the rules over where you guys are is pretty heavy, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they will confiscate your board and heavy fine you. But saying that, I've only ever heard of a handful of people that haven't actually having it done. And if you're not being a dick, you tend to get left alone. And to be fair, me and Dan mostly will only ride anything urban to get to the dirt, to go to the woods or the forest. We'd ride to them, so we don't spend that much time on the street. But
yeah, it's very rare with electric, any of the electric mountain boarders. It's very rare for any of them to be on the streets or on the roads as such. It's definitely more of an e-skate thing, or like the unicycles and stuff like that. There's in urban areas that you seem to get bigger gatherings on like a
you get mass group rides of like 30, 40 riders. That's when you're going to highlight yourself to the police.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Possibly a nuisance rider with music blaring and like 30, 40 of you whizzing in and out of the traffic.
Yeah, I mean, weirdly in the UK, so we have in certain cities electric scooters that you can hire, and the electric scooter companies are insured for their scooters to be on the road with other vehicles. But currently you can't privately own a scooter. Oh, sorry, you can obviously privately own a scooter, but you can't insure a scooter to be legally on the road. So they were doing quite a lot of crackdowns in urban areas at private owners of the scooters and stuff like that, and finding, you know, or just hoodlums or whatever that are just bezzing about on scooters, you know, in urban environments late at night, and you know, being antisocial with it. But yeah, mountainboarders are a bit of a shy, retiring type when they're not put together in one room, and they just hang out in the woods.
Smeared in their own excrement.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I mean, we get 99% of the time, if we're out and about encountering other countryside users, I'd say they're normally pretty positive. You will get, like, if we've got a particularly busy area for dog walking and stuff, and it don't matter what time of day, and it's on the coast, it's part of the coastal path, and I reckon it's probably about 60% of those experiences are positive, like fully positive, in terms of I've stopped or slowed down, said hello to the dogs. They've gone, oh, that's great. You know, you're having a great time. It's brilliant to see. And then there's maybe like 20-30% of people that are just like indifferent and just like, and then maybe there's 10% of people that are so besotted with their dog that they don't want to consider any other users, even other dog users of the place. So, you know, it's, you know, and I think other than that, if you're not giving people reason to get pissed off, it's
Yeah,
hard to be pissed off at someone if you
Yeah.
know, that whole kill it with kindness. If you're smiling and being jolly and saying, "Hey, how's your day going?" It's really
yeah,
hard for and
Yeah.
continue with that attitude no matter what. It's really
yeah.
hard for people to continue to
Yeah.
be negative.
So be
Oh yeah,
fucking nice, people.
yeah. Kill him with kindness, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
Bradley, I've still not worked out like your route. Are you? If I were looking at the map of Canada, are you going left to right or right to left?
I'm going. Whoo. So I'm headed east.
that's the better way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, east. So I'm headed. So if you go to the middle of Canada, you're looking at the map, and you're looking
Yeah.
at Canada in the middle, well, close to it in Saskatoon. I'm headed to the left. So I'm
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
headed to Vancouver Island or Vancouver, and then gonna take the ferry boat over and then finish down in Victoria.
So none of that area is French speaking, is it?
No, I
No,
mean
because Slogs has a rich heritage from French Canada.
in Quebec.
Yeah, I believe so. Is that right, Quebec Slogs?
I believe so. My forefathers came from there. I believe it's actually pronounced Sloget. It's French Canadian, or so my dad told me.
Okay.
um, but yeah, so um, if you were to, wow, this is like 2,000 miles. That's not even half what like. That's not even fully across the country. What were you thinking trying to do the whole width of the country without a
On a fucking
motors?
longboard.
Like if you'd have succeeded, you'd have got off and you'd have never been able to walk in a straight line. You'd have just constantly had one leg bigger than the other and
One calf like that.
yeah, just
Oh, no,
curving on.
I'm a switch rider, so I switch, like I ride both
Oh,
sides, and I
you
sides.
push both
So
feet.
when
That's handy.
that trip, none of my pants fit because my calves and my ass was so jacked from pushing so much. It was ridiculous. I had to wait like months before I could give it. I was wearing sweatpants and shorts probably for like the first 6 months before I could wear actual jeans that I had. It was
Baby
crazy.
got back.
Yeah, yeah. And
Oh, amazing.
I was 28 at the time when I did that trip, and I was just kind of living for life. I was like young, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it all kind of attitude, and I just did it. And I thought, yeah, this is a great idea. And the second that I started pushing out of Newfoundland, I was like, this is the worst fucking idea I've ever done. Like, and like, where am I going? And then I kind of got into it after a while, but yeah.
You could have at least got one of them big dogs that they've got there to have pulled you.
Oh yeah, with the booze there to help out, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So currently on your journey, you said where you were earlier. Refresh my mind where you are now. And
I'm in a small little town just below Edmonton. It's called Wetaskiwin. So I just posted up here before I get to. I'm on my way to Calgary, so I just made a little pit stop here, and I'll hit another bigger town called Red Deer, and then on to Calgary, where hopefully I can kind of get a little, energy boost. I know there's a friend of mine there, so do a tire change and whatnot. Yeah. From Calgary, I got to go even further south down to a town called Fort Macleod. And then from Fort Macleod, it's straight west. Or yeah, I'm headed straight west from there into the Rocky Mountains.
right. Well, I mean, I suppose time will tell when you get to that stage as to how the terrain changes will affect your range and so on
Yeah.
and so forth. At least it hopefully be a bit warmer there for you at this time of year than the
Yeah,
winter.
it's ramping up. Like today was close to 18 today. I think in BC the bigger challenges will be obviously the hills. But then also there's a section that I'll be hitting right away in, you guys know a town called Fernie.
Mhm.
It's a snowboard town, ski town.
Mhm.
In around Fernie, they've had an abundant sort of growth of what we call brown bears. They're not
Right.
quite, they're not black bears, but they're in between. And they've had like their population probably double in the last like 5 years. So, and the trail that I want to follow goes kind of out into the Tules a little bit. So I'm like, I got bear bangers, I got, I got all sorts of like distractions, but it's not really something I'm looking forward to. It's like, it's one thing after another, but it's what an adventure is, I guess. We'll just have to
Oh
see
man.
what happens.
That's madness.
If you get footage of being chased by a bear on your e-board, I need to see that. Surely it can outrun a bear, right? I don't know. I don't know what.
I don't think so. This board can do 60 on the pavement, like flat out, but I'm gonna be on probably a gravel. So no, you'll never outrun a bear on a board. I mean, with the speed wobbles alone on a back road will probably throw you. So my thought is like I would just like ditch my backpack, hold on to the battery pack, and just hunker down and floor it. But I'll never out. I don't think you'd ever outrun a bear. They're so fast. If they want it,
Your backpack, your bloody bear scarers are in there.
well, no way. As soon as I hit the trail, it's like machete, bear bangers, and air horn, and I'm ready.
Hopefully you can outmaneuver a bear at speed.
We just cut a few nuts, like turn around, go. Yeah, I don't know, climb a tree, something. There's not really much you can do other than if it's. There's a few phrases. It's like if it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lay down, because you're just not going to beat it. So, because the grizzlies, if they want to take you out, they'll take you out. The black bears, they're kind of like large dogs, and if they want to come at you, you just got to kind of give them attitude, make yourself big, fight, but brown bears, I don't really know. I've never encountered a brown bear before, so we'll see.
Funny that, nor have I. Have you, Dan?
No. I mean, not without being derogatory. Yeah. I don't know what I was going to say. Yeah, I kind of hope that you don't encounter any, mate. Let's be honest. As cool
Or
as
at least get one from a distance. One
yeah,
just
from a
watching you
distance
go
in
down.
the rear view.
Yeah, I mean, if it's possible, there's two reasons why a bear will attack you generally out in the bush. Is one, it's starving and it's kind of like just it'll eat anything, so it'll come after you. Generally, our meat tastes like shit. Or usually the only reason is mother bear. So mother bear trying to protect her cubs. If she gets wind of you, like 5 to 10 miles out, she will track you down and beat the shit out of you and make sure that you are not a threat.
Okay.
That's scary.
Hell.
Yeah. If you're upwind from her and she gets wind of you, she'll check it out, and then if she thinks you're a threat, she'll come at you. It's like, yeah, that happens more often than not. But it's like, what else are you supposed to do? It's like you don't know where they are, and she could be. So,
yeah. Well, either way, let's hope that leg of the journey is unremarkable for you.
Yeah, that's what this is for. That's a machete, so a quick draw machete that I attached to the board just in case. Not that I want to use it. I don't ever want to have to use that, but I mean, fight or flight kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've encountered a pretty angry otter once that took a chunk out of my hand, but not one that I'd. Well, to be fair, if I'd have had a machete, I think it would have evened the playing field. But he was going for my throat at the time. I thought he was about to finish me in days, but I got away with just a nasty little nip on my finger. um, so yeah, looking at the time, we're coming into the final quarter as such there. How far through this journey are you currently now? So you took up the start of June, and we are now the 10th of June. And you've had a
Well,
bit.
about a third of the way through time-wise, then what you're hoping.
Yeah.
Have you managed to? I doubt with all the wind, that's going to have set you back quite a substantial portion, isn't it?
A total of probably 4, maybe 5 days behind because of the wind and then the rain that came in. So from here on out, I'm just I'll take the trail sections, the Trans-Canada Trail, which I've said I want to follow to the best of my ability. I'll do that if I'm able to make it the same amount of time as I would on the highway. Otherwise, just time-wise, I mean, I don't really need to be back any specific time. Like, I do have to go back to work, but where I work, they're super supportive. So if I need to, I have more time if I need to take it, but I would like to be done at the end of this month. So, yeah, it'll be touch and go up until Calgary, and then hopefully BC is just good weather and good road.
And
What distance-wise, how far have you gone so far, distance-wise, compared to what you got left?
Maybe 600 kilometers, maybe. Yeah, not very far. Like, I was expecting to have way more because I was going to follow the trail, and because it goes all over the place, it would have collected a lot more kilometers. So kilometer wise, I'm nowhere near what I thought. I should hopefully by the time I hit Fernie is like 1,000 to maybe 1,100 kilometers. Hopefully, we'll see. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how does one go about setting this up to be recorded as a record attempt? Because a little while ago, me and Slogs talked about various stupid records that we could set as such, because being on a mountain board, it is a different board to the others. Whether it be how many 180s could you do in one run, or
Yeah.
in a minute, or just stupid stuff. And there's criteria to be met for those. Obviously, the biggest one is you got to pay to play to have it recognized. But yeah, how are you logging this? How does it go about getting recognized as an attempt?
So there were for these. So I'm going for 3 different records: longest journey by an electric skateboard, longest journey in a single country, and longest journey in a 24-hour period, which I'm going to have to do when I get back at home because that one requires to go in a full circle. But for the recording of all these, I applied for you can either do sponsored or non-sponsored. The non-sponsored application was way easier to deal with, probably because of logistics and maybe there's money involved with the sponsored side. So I just went non-sponsored, and I applied for all 3. I sent it in. It's quite an ordeal. They ask a lot of questions. It's super detailed. And then within, I guess, they get a lot of applications. So if you're going to look for something and you're in like a time crunch, I do it way ahead of schedule because this took about a month for them to get back to me. And once I got it, then they send you your rules and your regulations and what you are supposed to do. And seeing as this trip is a solo, I am required to document everything. So photos, videos, a written log, so basically a diary, trackers, Strava, Gaia, All Trails type thing, Garmin, and then just, oh man, I messed up the start of the trip. I messed up because I didn't press start on my trackers. So I had to turn around and go back to the beginning and go through the whole ordeal with the people I was staying with because they needed to be there to witness with
Yeah.
video, and then I press start. There's also witness sheets that you have to get signed at the beginning and the end. All of this stuff, I'm going way overboard. I'm doing more than I probably need, but I just don't want to mess around doing a trip like this and like coming out at the end where they're like, no, you missed this
Oh,
side.
you'd be gutted, wouldn't you, if you hadn't crossed a
Yeah.
T or dotted an I?
Yeah, completely gutted if I didn't get that. So I'm just going overboard. But even still, who knows? Like they may find something. But I spoke to the previous world record holders. So Evelyn from Spain and Stefano from Italy. And he actually sent me his logbook and everything else and how he did it. And they've been a huge help. And that's like part of the
Nice.
of in the board scene that I just, loved. Like never met them ever. And they were just open to everything and they helped me out with so much. So but yeah, it's all on me. Like it's all on me. Like even today, I forgot to press record, and thank God I was only like a few hundred feet away, and I turned around and had to go back, start where I started, record, and then go. So.
Well, thank you. Thank goodness you have remembered. But it's interesting that you've spoken to the other record holders, and they've been so supportive. That's amazing.
Yeah.
One question on that though, if I'm assuming that should you complete this and be successful, what do you think the likelihood of them guys returning the attempt? Do you know what I mean? Do either of them have any designs to ever sort of undertake it again? Should you break it?
If they want to go for it, they'll need to find more room than Europe, because if they go, I'll just turn around and I'll go to the next province over in Canada and then come back again.
Nice. Well, maybe they'd have to come to Canada.
Yeah, Evelyn, she went 2,200 kilometers, and that was from the tip of Spain all the way up to Belgium. So and Stefano, his record is only within Italy, and he went from the top of the boot all the way to the very bottom of the boot, and he only did about 1,400 kilometers.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to capture his record. It's Evelyn's that I also want, even though she's on the female side. I just it's the competitive side of me. I just want it. I want to set that bar and see if anyone's going to go for it. So
that's it. Well, I think if they did do it in this area of the world, they'd have to go through some pretty unstable territories to get the mileage without looping or doing a circuit or something. But then that's kind of not in the spirit, is it? Shall we say?
Well, that's an interesting note, is that you're not allowed to repeat a track that you've already gone over. So let's say if they were to go, like Evelyn, if she was to go up to Belgium and then do a loop around and came back to her starting point in Spain and needed more kilometers, she would have to take a different route than her original one. You can't go over the same route. Yeah, you can't. Yeah, so.
And is that one of the reasons why you said about when you do the 24-hour one, that has got to be on a loop?
Yeah, so that was a mistake of mine where I didn't read the fine print on just this one paragraph. It said the record has to be done in a circular route, and it has to be tracked a certain way, blah, blah, blah. But which makes it way easier, because I was going to try the 24-hour. I had full intentions of doing it out here from Saskatoon, wherever, which would have been
that's not that clever, really, if it's solo in it, is it?
Yeah, like batteries 150. I would have stopped, slammed some Red Bull, go again, stop. But the circular one, I'm just gonna go and go and go and see what I can get, because my place of work is right next to the airport path, I call it, out in Victoria. So the boys will be there recharging batteries, and I can just go and go and go. So it'll be a good time.
Oh,
So,
nice.
are you doing any social media on your route round, updating daily and stuff?
Yeah. So there's Instagram. You can follow on there. It's Rome_Wolf. And then also on Facebook, it's under Bradley Smith. But then there's also a web page that's being developed called it's www.romewolf.ca, and that'll have a more intuitive tracker that'll just be a huge map, and it'll be following me along, and it'll show all the points of interest, blah blah. So yeah.
We'll check that out.
Yeah, it's such a joy to see, such an undertaking. It's, the adventurer within all of the mountain board community can get behind this sort of thing. And I hope that people do watch this and do get behind it and sort of cheer you on, whether it just be by liking the posts or commenting or sending your messages or whatever, or just sharing the positivity.
Yeah, it's really like, for me, it's such a new and interesting way of, I don't know, enjoying the board sport, I guess. And it's not really, I don't know, it's out there for sure, but to just like take it to a different sort of direction and show the capabilities of what this could be or can be is
Yeah.
so exciting. And this isn't the last trip for me. Like next year, or maybe a little bit further down, I'm gonna go from Canada down to Mexico. I'll have a support vehicle for that one, and we're gonna go hopefully fully sponsored. But it's also another area of like, just like try and keep this train going, to like throw it out there to inspire, to be like, yeah, I'm gonna go and do this trip with this board. Like I'm gonna, it's endless with what this stuff can do, man. There's so many possibilities that we can take advantage of out there. It's great.
I'm sure. I'm sure the boys at Trampo in the UK there and Apex. I'm sure if contact with them, they'd help out with any of these sorts of bits wherever they can. But yeah, it's I'm so jealous. I gotta say.
Oh, I'm really jealous as well, and I'm really excited for you, and I can see the excitement in you just talking about it. Like you can see, like how stoked you are.
Well,
Like
Yeah, go on.
the it's the whole, like I've done so many types of trips like this before, and anytime that you get down on like, oh man, I just don't know, it's like you got to take a step back and realize what the fuck it is that's going on right in front of you. You're riding your board and you're having a blast. You could be in an old folks home rotting away. You could be at your job rotting away. You could be doing so many other things being miserable, but yet you're out here in 70-kilometer wind being miserable. What would you choose? Right? What would you choose? I choose 70-kilometer-hour gusts of wind on the prairies, riding my board, yelling and screaming at it, as opposed to some wanker at my job yelling at me that I'm doing it wrong. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm out here and I'm going to do it as much as I can, and I'll put all my pennies towards doing more of them. Like I've got my eyes set on Iceland. I've always wanted to go there, but baby steps. We'll get there.
yeah.
Well, you sold it to me, Bradley.
To be fair, the what do you do for a living, Bradley, in normal life?
I work for North Saanich municipality, so it's like an outside government job. So I run like the mower on the side of the roads, and fix roads, and do tree work. So like cutting down trees.
So, well, I mean, hey, to have them support you in this sort of endeavor, they don't sound like the sort of people that would be shouting down your neck too much.
No,
But
I should take it back. Those guys, the guys at North Saanich, like I love them to death. They're the best. Like they've been behind me 100%, and I've always said, anywhere you need us, we're there. We're gonna come and get you. We'll drive halfway across the country if we need to. So yeah,
Oh,
and
no.
that goes for a lot of people. So it's been a lot of support. Yeah.
Well, this is it, you know, but it's to watch someone who undertakes a challenge and, you know, come success or failure, to take on something that is momentous in life. And that can be something small to some people, but might be big to another. It can
Mm,
inspire anybody. If you're facing down challenges of any sort in this life and being successful, you will inspire other people around you, you know,
mm.
if you share your story. And fortunately for us, yours is quite a big story and easy to get behind and easy to share, because yeah, and easy to get stoked about. um Very easy to
It's the,
get jealous.
what jumps out at me at this project is the fact you're doing it solo
Yeah,
with it's such an epic scale to do it in general, and you're doing it solo, which is
Yeah.
this is, see, really, Bradley, this is why I'm so jealous, because he hangs around like a fucking bad smell. And
yeah.
I try and undertake all this stuff solo, but I can't get bloody rid of him.
Can I come?
Um,
If
but
I
yeah,
could, like, I've asked a few people, like, who would be crazy enough to join me on something like this. Like, when I told my girlfriend, I said, look, I got this idea and I want to do this. She's the project manager for a marketing firm. Her first answer, and I wish she was here with me. She's like, all right, we need to get like a web page going for you. Like, she was behind me 100%. There was no worry of like, well, you're going solo. I don't like that. It was like, you're
yeah,
going solo. This is awesome. We need to get this going. But sometimes I'm like, yeah, it'd be nice to have someone to be here to keep the stoke alive. It gets tough, but yeah, I mean, if you got something in your mind and you want to do a trip, like, go for it. Like, give me a call. I'll be there. Like, yeah, you want to go to Norway and do some of the adventure bike routes that they got over there. Fuck, like, the shit that they got over there, I've looked at, is so epic. Oh man, you just got to go for it once in a while.
Yeah.
make a plan and
Mhm.
work out how to get to that plan's fulfillment,
Yeah,
Spreadsheet,
and then
that's the
just
way
chomp,
forward.
yeah, just chomp
like
those one step one ticket, step two ticket, and eventually you'll get there.
yeah, like I said, it was a 5-year dream and turned into a reality a year ago. Like, I've been picking away at mapping, like, the amount of phone calls I made to people from Saskatoon to Vancouver in between.
Mhm.
That was a task in itself, just the logistics of like, is this a charging place? Like, yeah, so just make a list and check it off and work your way up to it and go for it. I mean, failure is, so different to so many people in their eyes. Like, the failure to me would be, for me to think about this trip and not go for it.
Yeah,
That's pretty heavy to me. And that's just me. I'm not saying for anyone else. But to go and do this trip and not, to make it halfway and not finish it, that's not a failure to me.
no,
That's me following through with what I was like, I fucking did that.
yeah.
Yeah.
It
To
was like
attempt is to succeed,
yeah,
you know. To
you
not attempt, that's the failure.
Yeah.
yeah, follow
100%.
dream. That's a succeed right there. That's success. Like,
Yeah,
you had fun following something you thought of and you put it into reality. Like, boom, that's awesome.
100%.
Yeah.
Look, I think that's quite apt to sort of wind it up there a little bit. Bradley, is there, before we do go, is there anything you want to sort of add into this? Is there anything that we sort of haven't gone through that you want to put out to the world as such within this this episode to finish us up?
I mean, just whatever it is. It could be the smallest trip to the biggest trip. It could be e-boarding, it could be biking, it could be hiking, like it's like what we were just saying. Put the effort in to work out the finer details, and make it happen. And do the test runs, put in the work. That's the part that you really have to focus on, is that it is going to be work. You have to put in the work to make it happen. I did, oh my God, probably a couple months worth of test runs just to see if this was even possible up and down Vancouver Island. I did 3 or 4 different trips down Vancouver Island to see if I could make the distance and see what it would feel like with the weight. Like, you got to put in the work. You got to understand. And I even learned on this trip, like, it's not going to be a cakewalk. It's not going to be what you envisioned it. It's going to be different. It's going to be hard, but just like, when you're out there realizing it and it's tough, just realize that it's like, holy shit, I'm actually doing this. This came true, and I'm doing this right now. In the toughest part, in the darkest corner, you're going to be like, fuck, this is so rad. I made this come true, and I'm doing it. Like, I'm doing it.
Nothing worthwhile ever comes easy.
Yeah, totally. 100%. 100%.
But, oh, cool. Well, look, get on that follow at Rome_Wolf.
Yeah. And Bradley, will you come on and do us the pleasure of another episode once you finish this trip, so we can talk through it, maybe go through some photos that you've taken and stuff like that, get a map up. We'd really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're family now.
That's it. And if you reach any more dark places or whatever during this trip and need that moral uplift, ping us a message.
Yeah.
We'll send you some funny stoke to get you going.
Yeah. Top it up. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Some motivational. One of the best things that happened for me, motivationally wise, and I still go back to a couple of years ago. Dylan Warren, whose board deck you're currently riding, sent me a message, and it was exactly that. It was like a, fuck yeah, Dan, you got this, go get it. And yeah, sometimes before I set myself up, I'll have a little road through and just, Dylan, this is you, buddy. But yeah, look, thank you so much for joining us, Bradley.
Good luck. I wish you all the luck. It's a phenomenal endurance, and I'm going to keep my eye on it, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Yeah, keep us posted and let us know once you're done. We'll get you back in, and you can have an offload as to the whole experience as a whole.
A full dumping, I'll just let loose.
and we're back, and to bring it back round to the start of it, we're back to flatulence, a full dumping. Cool. I'll see you, gents, in a while. May you enjoy many miles.
Thanks, Bradley.
All right. Cheers, guys. Thank you so much.
Bradley.
Way aye, man. That was dead canny as out, that like. Cheers for tuning out to listen. Now, before you gan yem, don't forget, if you want to keep getting doing with the Dorty Dort fun, like and subscribe. Get amongst it. Shy Ben's getting out.